Hey, what's up, everybody? BDL44 coming at you with another video. All right, surprise, surprise, surprise. So, Rudy Gobert and Karl Towns have sit down, and now Naz Reid is balling out of control, and the Timberwolves on a 3-game winning streak. Why does this matter to me as a Laker fan? Because it speaks to the very thing that I'm always telling people about looking for discounts and not overpaying for production because a guy has a name. Rudy Gobert is a guy who's been in the league, made a couple of Defensive Player of the Year trophies happen, obviously made all-star teams, but his time in Utah got to a point where it was evident that they couldn't keep him on the floor based on the fact that people could shoot the three ball over his head. He couldn't guard the perimeter for all of the good things that he brought to the table, including his ability to be pretty reliable. At the end of the day, you cannot keep him on the floor when the shooters are down there. And so when you pay $1 million picks for him and you give away your whole future for the guy, you understand that right then and there you're inheriting an opportunity to be at a disadvantage defensively for a price tag that is just ultimately, exclusive for the best players in the league. And so my thing is, take note, teams, because the production that they're trying to get out of Rudy Gobert, they're getting out of a guy that they drafted in the back of a first round or something like that, who they have on a rookie contract, who they had on a rookie contract, of whom they haven't fully developed because they keep letting people step in front of them. This is the guy who they should be probably trying to allow to play their center position, and then taking that same value they got poured into all those other players and help keep the floor spread for a guy like for Anthony Edwards and D'Angelo Russell. That's what they should be doing. The Rudy Gobert equity is like 7 and 8 picks. Do you know how much talent they can put on the floor for what it is that Rudy Gobert was traded for? Just doing things the wrong way because they're looking for names, because they're looking for production that they can get from guys that are already on the roster. This is exactly what I don't want the Lakers to do in regards to making trades and stuff like that. Don't do that. Don't put yourself in a position to try to go for Bradley Beal, and he costs $250 million when you can get those same 6 threes that you're trying to get from him from somebody that's probably already on the roster like Max Christie, if you just allow him to develop it to his best self. Just let him, and look at how much money you're saving. It's an infinite amount of money considering what that actually is. And this is what the Timberwolves are just completely foregoing, because they're like, oh, Rudy Gobert is a big name. We bring in a big name, we got a big star, we can bring in a championship. Like, that is just asinine. It's absolute stupidity. That's nothing to do with reality at all. What's true is you got an 82-game schedule every single season, and you're trying to get these guys to be able to be durable to play that, with the league changing every year, with players getting stronger and faster every year. So it's like, no, you don't want one of those old guys that's been running around for 10 years on one of the most expensive contracts to stranglehold your entire team into him and about 3 other guys. You want the opposite of that. You want the absolute opposite of that. You want to find a guy who can do everything he could do on one of these little rookie contracts. And then you want to pile him on top of a bunch of other guys in that same situation. And then you'll have 7 picks worth of players, a bunch of young guys playing, overachieving on these little contracts, and the ability to bring yourself whatever the heck you want, and stability to keep it going for as long as you need. That's all you should really want as a franchise owner, not the opposite of that, what the Lakers and the Nets and the Clippers and the Timberwolves and the Hawks are doing. These teams don't know what the heck they're doing. First of all, you shouldn't even want to really sign anybody to them type of contracts, because it does stranglehold you into a position where you can only have but so much. You should be constantly trying to recycle them dudes every time they get to that level. Oops, got them all the way up to that level. Thank you. Trade them for a bunch of picks. Recycle. Let's do it again. That's how I'd be playing it. Unless dude is good enough to get me to a championship. If homie gets to $250 million worth of level, I'm trading for 6 picks. Okay, kid, you not. If you ain't the pinnacle, you ain't worth that. History's telling us that all over the league. How many of them dudes actually won championships? Several didn't. Nah, man. Most of them dudes turned into bad contracts. And you trying to tell me I'm looking at Paolo Banchero being arguably the best pure scorer in the game on a rookie contract? Are you crazy? And you think I'm ever going to have a guy that's $250 million? His name better be LeBron James. You kidding me? Giannis. If he don't develop to that and he gets to that level, thank you, sir. Sayonara. Go trade you like the Spurs did DeJounte. That's how you play it. Unless they turn into what you expect them to be, the highest level and order of player. If you think for 1 second they're going to be an average dude on an inflated contract, you need to get them off of your team. So that's how I look at things. I don't play like that no more. Oh no, thank you. That's the end of that. You got to show up and show out, because I could find too many discounts if I know what I am doing. It's too easy. You can look in the G League right now and find a bunch of dudes that are ready to go. I have no idea what's keeping some of these GMs from calling them up. Nothing that makes real sense, to be honest with you. Nothing that makes any real sense. You look at some of these dudes just running around, barely getting up and down this court. No. When I look in the G League, see people flying around. One dude's going 30 points and 15 assists and 20 rebounds. Man, get out of here. Get out of here. Whatever system has it so that dude's down there and some of these dudes up here, it needs to be revamped completely. That system is bad for us. That's period. And so that's how I'm looking at it, man. No more. I ain't here to embarrass nobody. I got a couple names that just pop off in mind that should be out of the league permanently, but they still running around. And I look at guys at the G League that I know should be up there. And I look at guys on some of these inflated contracts we've talked about. And I look at some of these dudes that are playing behind him, and I realize these dudes are just as good as him. They're just as good as him. And if you're looking at it logically, they have less miles on them. So you should probably want them more. They should be more valued higher, even more than them dudes who've been running around this whole time, who have quote-unquote proven themselves. That's a good thing. They've proven themselves. Here's the problem, though. You've also proven yourself, too, because you paid them twice. They ain't got to prove nothing else to each other. Telling you, man, I'm cutthroat. That's probably why the Lord didn't put me in a position to be no billionaire owner of a basketball team. Y'all be mad at me, man, because I'll be constantly getting rid of superstars, bringing in constant young players, because I know what's going to keep us current is going to ultimately make us best. You know what I'm saying? I'd have been the guy that had Murphy and Bol and all that, and I'd have been trading the Bradley Beals and the Rudy Goberts. That's me. Them dudes out of here. No, thank you. Thank you for making all-star teams and not getting us as far as we need to go. Thank you. You guys are great. We love your talent. Hopefully you can find a place that allows you to fit perfectly at the end of your career and win championships. But here, we're trying to build around you, and we know damn well that ain't it. Just because you're the cream of the crop don't mean that you're good enough to pay that much and have this thing structured this way. No, not when we going up against Giannis. No, hell no. Not when KD over there. Not when Jokic over there. I'm supposed to pay you. And I know you ain't good enough. And I know I can't build around you. But we just gonna do that anyway? Nah, hell no. We ain't doing that. No. Just because the system's set up to be stupid doesn't mean that the people who have to be in the system have to behave that way. No. I'm working around that. So that's how I roll, man. Don't have me be no GM. We either winning championships or we bad. It's one or the other. I ain't never gonna be no man's land. We ain't gonna be no 8th seed. None of that. I'm trading people. We can be that bad. We gonna have picks. We're gonna be the first pick in the draft. We that bad. Have me take over the Washington Wizards. Have me take over the Indiana Pacers. This thing gonna be wiped out. Kid you not. So that's how I feel, man. I think the Lakers need to look at their situation and think that way. You get you a GM in here who has an imagination and the ability to reset your situation and go for it. Because after this last injury with AD, it looks like he's probably gonna be out for longer than this month, maybe even longer than 2 months. And so if our season is over, there should be no reason why any of these people are on the team next year. This course is crap. And I love LeBron James, so I want to exclude him from that out of respect. But at the price tag he going to want to play at, nah, I'm not building around him, dude. I'm not doing that. I want LeBron James to take a nice, smooth, respectable haircut for my basketball team next season so that we can have a real team. Because this building around Clutch and all that, I don't appreciate the results of what this has given us outside of 2020, which was a bubble. It was very different circumstances than flying all over the country. We got to make sure we have players that are ready for the haul, man. And so if Bron is up for it and he can help us, that should be a priority, obviously, with the production he can provide us up to this point. But us building around him and AD, man, building around AD is crazy to me. I'm not going to lie to you. It's nuts. And that's what worries me, because I don't think we can get the right price tag for him just off of the strength of the overall sentiment that I have. I know he could score 60 points, give me 20 boards and 5 blocks in one game. I know that. I am telling you I think that he can do that. And what I'm also telling you is I think I'm only going to see him 30 games. And he ain't going to do that in all 30 of them games. He's not. Some of them games he's not going to even be involved because that's just how he get down. Sometimes he just forgets to play. So it's like, nah, I'm not. There's no way you can build around a player like that. He's very unique in the sense that his talent level is overwhelming. But his availability expectations are underwhelming to no end. And so with that being the consistency there, There's no real way to slot him in as a max player. He has to take a real pay cut in his contract to make himself make sense. I know that sounds crazy for a guy who can do what he does, but your availability has to amount to something, man. And if I spread out, as I said in the previous video, your production throughout the course of the games that you are going to play, then it doesn't really amount to as much as what it is that you're actually making. If I'm only expecting you to play 30 games a season, 40 games a season, that's not. No, that needs to be worked out in the structure of these contracts. And I hate to be the guy that's taking money from people, but I like things to make sense when we have a limited amount of stuff to use. It's only a pie. You know what I mean? I don't get a pie and a half. It's one pie. We got to split that in a certain amount. If that pie doesn't split up properly, that cap space doesn't come out right, team's screwed. And look at us, our team is screwed. But if he was on a contract that more so represented what his expectations would be, then we would be a better team. Off the strength of that, money would be in other players' hands. And so this is why I don't have no tolerance for that. If we could pay everybody $1 billion to play one game, I'd be happy to see generational wealth spread out across the world. We all be billionaires if it were up to me. So I'm not over that mindset. Nobody should have to. This shouldn't even be about no damn money. Everybody should be wealthy. So we should all be doing our passions anyway. So as far as I could tell, this should be a passion project for the world. But this right here, if we're going to do it properly, people still got to be slotted away. People feeling still going to get hurt, no matter if it's money involved or not, because it was about matchups and winning. And so with that being said, bro, no. AD got to shave. Bron got to shave. And we got to make that make sense so we can put the right talent around them to win, or we doing this wrong. And if they don't want to shave, they got to go. That's it. That's what I'm saying. If I'm the owner of the team, there ain't nothing else to talk about. I'm saying about me not respecting you or nothing. This is about how the landscape is and how you have to build in order to be a champion. If we're not building to be a champion, what do you want to be here for? You don't want to be here to not be good enough. You didn't come to the Lakers for that. You can go to any of these other teams and do that. Take Toronto's bag if you want to just be here in the league. If you just want to get a bag and just play for a squad, go to the Clippers. But don't do that here, because we're trying to get banners every day, every year rather. And so if the front office ain't thinking like that, then they're thinking backwards, because that's what's going to make them the money. The hell you think going to make you the money? Championships going to make you the money, so you should be thinking like me too. At the end of the day, team's trash. Players we building around can't stay healthy. They work real hard. Coach is rookie. He don't know what he's doing. He leaning on players he trusts, and players that he trusts been around for a long time, which is why he trusts them, because they've been around forever, which means they don't have a whole lot left. So he needs to trust them as his coaches, not his players. My God, man. Because by that logic, I might as well ask Magic Johnson to suit up for us. So, I mean, it's just like, no, if you're done, you're done. Thank you, Patrick. You're done, bro. I love what you do for us. You can still help us in spurts, but all this stuff we ask you to do is absolutely not going to work. The same thing I said about just about everybody on the team last year that was not named Bron and AD. You're just done. Thank you. And if you look around, there's only like 3 of them dudes left in the league. They're all gone, because that's where they should be. That's where they should have been last year, too, and we weren't evaluating talent properly. And so this is the truth, man. And then this year we got some guys, Kendrick Nunn, Damian Jones, they're starting to play well. I like them. You know what I'm saying? They're playing well, but I'm looking, and I speak again, the G League. It's like, are you telling me you can't find nobody with more upside than them dudes? You sure? Is that your final answer? Because you ain't going to like what sound you going to hear after that. Because I got an ant for you right after that. It ain't going to sound too good. You feel me? So it's like, look, I'm very certain the Lakers need to try to find a way to redirect their entire focus as it pertains to who they're listening to, who's advising them, and what it is they're doing. Because at this point, it's obvious to me that they're still not listening to who they need to listen to. If they were, they would have traded Anthony Davis about 2 weeks ago. Because that's what I told them to do. When he was playing with 55 points, he'd have been on somebody else's team. He'd have been a net by now. Yeah, I ain't kidding. He'd have been a net by now. Because I already know you only got about a week and a half, 2 weeks for him to play that way, and he's going to be out for a whole long time, and that's where we are now. God, you could try trading him now. Good luck. Ain't nobody going to give you nothing for him to hurt. So, yeah. I've watched people back themselves into bad corners, and I'm continuing to see that this is just going to continue to be this way. You know how it ends? People pushing people out because they just end up making more mistakes on top of these mistakes that ultimately leave them worse. This is where this is headed. This is how people who are on this path keep going. I've seen this before. They don't learn nothing. It keeps getting worse, and they keep scrambling around. They don't bring in people that's going to help them. They don't change the regime. None of that. No, they just keep looking, all right, what are you going to do next? Oh, let's do something else stupid. All right, let's get it done. Oh, that didn't work. Oh, man, that really sucks. Oh, they're really mad. Oh, yeah. It's like that's how it's going to go. It's like, no, let's alleviate all that, Genie. Fire everybody ahead of time before they make that third and fourth mistake. It's time. This failed. Here's another lost season. If you don't know, Laker fans, let's just be clear. If AD's out for longer than a month, this season's a wash. Trade or no trade. Now, if he can come back sooner than that, hey, we're fine. If it turns out he'll be back in 3 weeks, okay, well, all right. But the way things are shaping up, it looks like he's out for longer than what we need him to be in order for our season to be saved. And if that is the case, I think Genie needs to blow this thing up. Because if you go into next season with the same core, the way people are going to look at you for not blowing it up, people are going to be calling for her to sell the team. I know it. We have another season like this with this core. After going through this in 2022, 2023, people are going to want Genie to sell the team. I'll tell you right now. Because there's going to be a lot of people who already feel that way right now. Why? Because last year we saw that this was garbage and should have been blown up then. And you know what? People were pissed then because we saw the year before that this thing was garbage and should have been blown up then. And you understand what I'm saying? We should have kept the team from the 2020 bubble, even though they was too old. Some of them dudes was too old. We should have kept the best of that core and not did the Dennis Schroeder and all that other stuff that we ultimately did for value, but didn't use properly because of coach. And then AD missed a million games as usual. It's like, no, this is what happens. This is what happens. You build them properly. And don't fire people on time, which is what we should have did. Firing Vogel 2 years ago and hiring Ham 2 years ago. That way he wouldn't be a rookie coach right now. That's a big part of our issue now. It's the fact that he does not necessarily have it all under control just yet. And I think I want to word it that way because I believe in the coach and I see some good things in what he's doing overall. But some of the little short macro stuff, I don't think he quite knows how to help the franchise from his position just yet. But we're going to help him with that. Hopefully he follows BDF 44. We can kind of coach him into how best to make games like yesterday make more sense for the franchise. But it's also on the franchise not to ask him to do stuff that makes no damn sense for the franchise. And that is important. This whole clutch nonsense, which is not so clutch right now. They're not coming through. So this is what it is, man. Lakers, we're probably going to have another day where we don't hear no trades happening. I'm pretty sure Rob Pelinka's going to continue to hold them picks to the chest, and that's a smart way to play it. But it doesn't look good when you're sitting here waiting for it to play itself out. And this is dragging itself out. I'm happy we called up, Pippen. I'm glad Christie's back up here. That gives us some sense of a new type of rotation for ourselves, which is ultimately what we want to see. If we're not going to trade people, we definitely want some of the people who've been down there not to be down there, however that looks. I think getting Patrick Beverly out of rotation would go a long way in helping this team's morale. I kid you not. With respect to Pat and all the good that he brings to the team. Just look. I ain't got to say too much. Just take a look. It will go a long way. And I said the same thing about Russell Westbrook. We moved him around, played him differently. Now he's an asset. You just got to move people around. Do it the right way. So that's what it is, man. I'm. What can I say, man? This team's not living up to our expectations. We see improvement every day, though, with the way they play for the most part. When they have their full spectrum, we got guys that work hard, so you don't want to disrespect that aspect of it. We got some guys we want to keep, and we like having them here, et cetera, et cetera. All of that is great. It gives us hope. We got much more hope out of these first 20 games than we got out of all them 82 last year. I'll tell you that. But we're still not in a space where I think our franchise is to be trusted. They as it pertains to making good decisions, I'm waiting for the next mistake. Genie, I am. I'm just waiting for the next mistake. And I don't like that. I don't like being a fan of a team where I expect incompetence. So she's going to have to look in the mirror as the owner of our team and say, here, we got to do something difficult again. Just like we did with Jim, we got to do something difficult again. And usually I'm complaining about LeBron James. But I'm telling you, for the last couple of weeks, I ain't really seen too much that made me unhappy. He's kind of just doing everything I want him to do. The bigger picture is, a lot of this is his fault, whatever. But I think when you ask a person to make certain changes and they make those changes, then you're just like, all right, well, they're settled. If all the blame I had to apply to them, it's kind of like, all right, what else am I going to do, They're taking that and they're doing with it what I've asked them to do. That's where we're at with Bron. We just got to get to the end of the season. Hopefully he can stay healthy and we can renegotiate, or he can go somewhere else and win. And it could be good energy because I'm happy with what he's done. I just want him to keep it up from these last 2 weeks on. It's been good. Just don't do anything else that would further hurt us, man. We're good. That's all it is. But as far as Genie and all these other guys, now it's on y'all. If we're gonna make a smart decision, it's gonna be us sacrificing some things, and it might have to be our relationship with LeBron James. It might have to be our relationship with Clutch. It doesn't have to be bad energy in parting ways from a partnership. But I'm looking at this situation. I'm saying it ain't lived up to my expectations. If I'm gonna hire you to do for me what I need you to do, we didn't get there, man. We got one ring. We didn't get it all. You know what I'm saying? I hired you for much more than what we received, and ultimately, I'm not happy 6 years in. So, do I want to keep going down year 7, or am I going to see the changes necessary? I don't think that's happening. I don't see no inclination that that's coming. So that's where my Laker talk is taking me, man. I'm happy with LeBron, the player, but his the company there, Clutch. Nah. We're far and away from being pleased as fans. I'm far and away. And I get it. AD's their guy. That's a huge deal. So obviously, we landed AD. That should make up everything. But it don't. Not when we can't build properly around him, it don't. Not when all the players you sending us can't play well, you don't. No, I don't know what we're going to do, but it ain't going to be this going forward if I'm running stuff. Absolutely not. I like to win, y'all. In case you didn't notice, that's really what it's about. I'm competitive. And so when I see a lack of competitive nature, or when I see guys down there who can't perform and it's not their fault because they're just not tall enough or they're just not good enough and we can do something about that, it's like, nah. The players got to get the brunt of that. They got to be the ones getting booed. Why are they getting booed? It ain't their fault they not as good as they need to be. That's the people who put them down there fault. It's the people who scramble them down there in that rotation fault. So I think the fans, it's not like we're screaming out who we need to boo, but there needs to be some understanding. It's not the players' fault that they're not where they need to be. So I'm gonna place that blame on those folks, man. It starts with Jeanie Buss, owner of the team. We love her. We salute all the good stuff. It's a lot of championships come from the Buss family. We expect more. That's the precedent you've set for us. That's the precedent your dad has set for us. We like living in that space. We think you can bring us that because you have. Let's do things the right way so we can keep it going. There's more than one way to win a championship. You showed us one. You mortgaged the whole future, did everything the wrong way, and got one out of it. Cool. Now let's try doing it the right way. See if we could be successful in that. That's all I'm saying. Have a little faith. BDL44. Thank you all for watching.